A very good morning to you all. Today we shall discuss with a very important topic, that is flower. Now, when we come across this word flower, what do we mean to say? That it is flower which is used for ornamental purposes. We offer to gods as a means of worship, and it is also used as a perfume and like different, like in bouquets, garlands and all. But actually, what is flower? Flower is the modified shoot of the stem. That is the modified green shoot which is condensed and develops leafy floral whorls, which later on develop into floral whorls. So in a simplified term, if you are asked to define flower, what do we say? Flower is a condensed or a modified shoot which has floral whorls or structures which are technically termed as calyx, corolla, endoecium and gynoecium. Now, when we talk about the flower, so let me show you a simple flower. This is very common to you all. You all know it. What is it? It is a rose. Now, when we talk about any flower, the part of the flower that is by which we hold the part of the that is the structure by which we hold the flower is called as pedicel. We also call it as stalk. And the part by which we hold the leaf, that is petiole. That is different from pedicel. Sometimes in 1 marks question you are asked this. What is the difference between pedicel and petiole? Pedicel means the part by which we hold the flower is called as pedicel, and the part by which we hold the leaf is called as petiole. Pedicel is also called as stalk. Next, this pedicel at the tip becomes swollen in a cup-shaped structure called as receptacle or torus or thalamus. It is an expanded portion which supports the other floral whorls. Floral whorls means floral structure. Now when you observe the flower, what do you find? This is also another type of flower. The outermost part is called after the pedicel. Thalamus is the calyx. It is also known as sepals. They are green in color, as you can observe, and they protect the inner floral whorls during the bud stage. Clear? Now, this calyx or the sepals may be free or united. I'll show you the diagram given here. Now, when you observe here, when the sepals are not touching each other, they are free, they are called as polysepalous. When they are united, they are called as gamosepalous. You observe this in petunia flower, got it? And also in hibiscus, or commonly named as China rose or shoe flower. Now, what is the function of this calyx? They protect the inner floral whorls during the bud condition, and also sometimes they also perform the process of photosynthesis since they are green in color. The next inner floral whorl are the petals. Also no technical term is what? Corolla. Clear? Now this corolla in the flower is brightly colored. It may be pink, red, yellow. Why? Because it plays a very important role. These petals, they are brightly colored to attract insects for pollination. These sepals and petals, that is the calyx and corolla, are also known as the non-essential parts of the flower. Why? Because they indirectly help in the process of reproduction. Now flower, it is also represents the reproductive part of the plant. When you observe any plant, when you look around, what do you find? The flowers, the plant has got the root, the stem, the branches and the leaves. So, when the plant develops these flowers, then we say that the plant has become reproductively mature. The other parts like root, stem, branches and leaves, they represent the vegetative part, whereas the flower represents the reproductive part, because we say that it has the male gamete and the female gamete. That means it has the male part and the female part. Now, when we talk about the flower, like I said, it has four important floral whorls: calyx, corolla, endoecium and gynoecium. Let me show you the diagram here, then it will be more clear to you all. See, now this is a part of a flower. What do you find? I have discussed about the pedicel, the thalamus, the sepals, next the petals. The next third floral whorl are the stamen or endoecium, also known as the male reproductive part of the flower. You find it has got anthelope and a long slender filament. Together, anthelope and filament are called as stamen. Technically, it is called as endoecium. Now, why it is so important? Because it has numerous pollen grains which represents the male gamete and helps in reproduction. Clear? So, the innermost floral whorl is the gynoecium or the pistil, which represents the female reproductive part. Now, there are certain other technical terms, as you can see in the diagram here. The endoecium, anthelopes, filament. This anthelope, they are bilobed. Bilobed means there are two antelopes containing pollen sacs, which is also called as microsporangia, which contains numerous pollen grain or male gamete. Now, there are certain other technical terms that you should know. Now, if the flower has got sepals, petals, endoecium and gynoecium, all the four floral whorls, we say it as a complete flower. Clear? But if any of the floral whorl is missing, then that type of flower is called as incomplete flower. Then next we have a term bisexual or hermaphrodite. See, if the flower has got both male and female part, it is called as bisexual or hermaphrodite. We find it in the China rose or hibiscus flower. There are other examples also. And then we have flowers which bear either male reproductive part or female reproductive part. Those flowers are called as unisexual flowers. Now, when we talk about both bisexual or hermaphrodite and unisexual, there is one more term, neuter flower. Neuter means neutral. The flower doesn't have either male reproductive part or female reproductive part. This we find it in the sunflower. Sunflower has got two types of florets, ray florets and text florets. Ray florets do not have endoecium or gynoecium. Sometimes the sepals are colored. I had already discussed that the sepals are usually green in color. Sometimes the sepals may be colored and the petals may be green. In that case, the sepals, if they are colored, they are called as petaloid. You have seen the gulmohar flower, which is also called as the flame of the forest. The colored part are the sepals. The sepals becomes brightly colored, whereas when the petals becomes green in color, it is called as petaloid. So that was all for today's session. Let me show you, give you the notes. Flower, reproductive part of the plant, when you go to higher classes also, In detail, we'll be studying about the different technical terms. Floral parts. If you're asked the floral whorls, then you have to mention starting from calyx, corolla, endoecium and gynoecium. Technically, like you may be asked in 1 mark question, what do you mean by gamosepalous and polysepalous? You may be also asked what is the function. And apart from, like in China rose, there is a extra floral whorl of the calyx which is called as epicalyx. Usually it is not found in all the flowers. Beside calyx, you have one more floral whorl which is surrounding the calyx called as epicalyx. Petals technically termed as corolla. Endoecium, also known as stamens. If you are asked to describe, so these filaments may be present in one bundle and the anthers are free, then they are called as monodelphous. If the filaments are arranged in two bundles, they are called as didelphous as in P, and if they are arranged in more than 2 to 3 bundles, they are called as polydelphous. You find in bombex and cotton. Didelphous, you have the example of P. Out of the 10 stamens, 9 are united and 1 is free. Monodelphous, only one bundle. The filaments, all the filaments are arranged in one bundle as you find in the hibiscus flower. Then you have certain technical terms. Which you should know. Complete, incomplete flower, bisexual or hermaphrodite flower, unisexual, neuter flower. Come to the diagram. Usually this is very important diagram. You are asked to label it and related questions are asked. Function of receptacle or thalamus. It is also known as torus, T-O-R-U-S. Expanded portion. That's all for today's session. Stay home, be safe.